Participants, welcome back. So now we have Mr. Santosh Kumar from Eden Technoclinic Private Limited. I request my colleague Mr. Rufus to introduce Santosh Kumar.
Good afternoon, dear participants. We are about to start the afternoon session of this day. Now we have Mr. Santosh Kumar as an industrial expert to discuss about various issues in relation to the concrete payments. So I'd like to give a brief introduction about the resource person. Mr. Santosh Kumar is currently working as quality management manager in Stedrent Technoclinic Private Limited, and he did his masters in transportation engineering and bachelor's in civil engineering from JNTU Hyderabad. With over 16 years of experience in the field of building material testing and highway material testing. So he worked in various prestigious companies such as IL&FS Engineering Construction Company Limited, Bureau Veritas India Private Limited, BSCPL Infrastructure Limited, Civil Aid Technoclinic Private Limited in different capacities. And he is a specialist in particular to this inter quality auditing and NABL accreditation. He delivered more than 100 guest lectures to working engineers, working professionals at the National Academy of Construction, Engineering Staff College of India, located in Hyderabad, and also to various government departments and technical institutions. Sir, on behalf of RGKT, Department of Civil Engineering, RK Valley, we welcome you, sir, and we thank you for accepting our offer, our request, and over to you, sir. Please, I request you to please start your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. Before I start the presentation, I would thank Dr. Amarendra sir for giving me the opportunity to share my views on the concrete payments, especially when it is related to high strength concrete. I'll start my screen sharing.
Santosh, yes, it is visible.
Visible, no, sir? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
So, proportioning of high strength concrete mixes as per Indian Road Congress 44 for cement concrete payments is the today's topic. So, coming to the introduction part, concrete has become an indispensable construction material. So, not only indispensable, I can say it is the most economical. To justify, we can consider 1 liter of drinking water, packaged drinking water. The cost of 1 liter of packaged drinking water is 20 rupees. Consider 1 cubic meter of drinking water. It will cost you 20,000 rupees. Whereas 1 cubic meter of concrete will cost you somewhere around 5 to 6,000. In that way, I can say it is very cheaper than your drinking water. So concrete has not only become an indispensable material, it is also most economical construction material. According to the present state of art, concrete has bypassed the stage of mere 4 components. Cement, water, pores and fine aggregates were only the ingredients in the concrete. Now, it is almost all, I said 10 ingredients are being mixed in a single concrete. And that is the state of art which we are having in the present scenario. And coming to the selection of proper materials and mixed proportions, they are very important steps to meet the requirements of strength and durability. However, this goal will remain elusive if adequate attention is not paid to processing operations of concrete. So not only the strength requirements and other proper selection of materials, we have to take a control on the process operations of concrete production. This is the most important thing. So development in the field of concrete technology have been phenomenal in the last decade. Several radical changes have also occurred in this. First being placed manually, then came the pumpable concrete, then came the flowing concrete. Now I don't know, flying concrete may also come in a short while. So several radical changes have been into the concrete industry. Fiber reinforced concrete is into picture, self-compacting concrete, high-strength concrete, mass concretes, shrinkage compensating concrete, etc. have all revolutionized the concrete industry. Production and quality control play a vital role in their performance. Now, I would like to start the presentation with a statement saying that pavements can withstand wheel loads with good quality construction, even though there is marginal deficiency in design. But good design cannot prevent failure of pavements if construction quality is poor. So there are some Indian Road Concrete standards related to cement concrete pavements. IRC 15, which deals about the code of practice for construction of jointed plain concrete pavements, and IRC SP 46, which provides the guidelines for design and construction of fiber reinforced concrete, and IRC SP 76, we all know it is related with the white topping, and IRC SP 70. Why I have added this? Because the National Highway Authority of India and Indian Road Congress are permitting self-compacting concrete in the use of constructing bridges. Then why can't we use this self-compacting concrete in the pavements, especially when it is a fixed form pavement? So coming to the recent Indian standards related to concrete, which have been published in the year 2018 to 2020, IS 1199, you can take part 1 to part 7. These have been related with the fresh concrete and hardened concrete testings. You can test for sampling, consistency, density of concrete, air content, making and curing of test specimens. Tests on self-compacting concrete have been introduced in the Indian standards, and you can see the setting time of concrete. Let me make you one thing clear, sir. Setting time of cement is completely different. It is done as per IS 4031. And setting time of concrete is done as per IS 1199 part 7. You measure the penetration resistance. Based on the penetration resistance, you fix the setting time of the concrete. And 10262, the concrete mix proportioning guide, has been, second revision has been published in the year 2019. And one more thing I want to add here is, whenever a new standard is published, the previous standard will subsequently be withdrawn. Always follow a new standard when it is published. And you can have the water permeability test as per 516 in the year 2018, and 516 part 4 testing of concrete cores. When it comes to the question of pavement quality concrete or cement concrete pavements, concrete cores will play a vital role. And IS 516 part 2 section 2. What is this? This is published in the year 2020. It is dealing with initial surface absorption test of concrete. And IS 516 part 6, drying, shrinkage and moisture movement of concrete can also be verified in the laboratories. And IS 516 part 11, determination of Portland cement content in hardened cement concrete can be verified. And this is also published in the year 2020. And let me make you one thing clear, this Portland cement content in your hardened concrete is subjected to a lot of deviation in the test results. Based on the calcium oxide in your concrete, we can tentatively say what is the amount of Portland cement content in your hardened cement concrete. But when you use fly ash and other GGBS supplementary materials, it is very difficult to find out the exact cement content. And nevertheless, IS 383 2016 aggregates for concrete. These are the recent changes happening. And before we talk about high strength concrete, I would like to emphasize more on ready mix concrete, which is the main source of concrete nowadays for the all highway projects, especially dealing with PQC. So there is a standard which talks about the code of practice for ready mix concrete, IS 4926, which is published in the year 2003 and reaffirmed in the year 2017. So there are some requirements of an RMC plant. Let us see what are they. Resource management is required, plant and equipment, laboratory, key personnel, control on quality of incoming materials, concrete mix design, production and delivery, maintenance, complaints and feedback. These are the main requirements of RMC plant. They should have a control on all these areas. So if I take you an example of a complaint, when I was auditing a RMC plant in Hyderabad, as per Quality Council of India, they have been certified for RMC 9000 capability certification. So when I look at the feedbacks and complaints, especially complaints, most of the customers write shrinkage cracks observed. Complaint is written and recorded in the document. And what they do is, the RMC agencies on the bottom, they write the solution. Early curing not done by the client or contractor. Because of that, cracks were observed. However, suggestion is given and the rectification is done. The complaint closed. This is what they write in most of the RMC plants. But I seriously say this complaint should be taken in another point of view. You should have the root cause analysis, whether there is a deviation in your concrete or it may be a problem with the contractor, but we have to educate the contractor that early curing must be done and proper measures of damping the surface of the concrete shutter and other things has to be informed to the client. So it is our responsibility to see to that there will not be any complaint related to our RMC. And there are some requirements for process, equipment, and maintenance. In addition to ensuring control on the quality of all input materials in carrying out appropriate mix design, the organization shall exercise strict control on production process. With continuous use, many of the control parameters are likely to exceed the permissible limits. Therefore, there is a need to keep all plant and equipment in good working condition by carrying out routine maintenance regularly. Now, if you look into the MoRTH, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, 5th revision, there is a clause provided in MoRTH 602. What are the requirements a batching plant should have? Batching plant shall have minimum 4 bins for aggregates. Automatic weighing devices, which are calibrated cells, we call, should be available. And the accuracy, if you look at the 4926, the accuracy for water, cement, and aggregates are different. And if you look at the MoRTH standard, that is different. There are stringent guidelines given in the MoRTH. So accuracy, that means if you weigh a cement of 100 kg, it should be, the tolerance should be plus or minus 1%. It should not deviate more than that. So accuracy in the terms of cement, admixture, and water weighing, it should be plus or minus 1% accurate. And coming to the accuracy in the coarse and fine aggregate, plus or minus 2% is permissible. And air conditioned centralized computer control cabin is required for operations of the batching plants. And you should have tipping trucks and also the transit mixtures. Now, if I talk about the process and other things, I just wanted to know you how the calibration is verified by an agency. If you see, out of 100 batching plants, 99% of the batching plants will be calibrated by the manufacturer. But are we sure the manufacturer is doing the correct calibration of the plant or not? So that's why few agencies employ third-party calibration verification agencies. So what we do is, we stand in the site, we deploy an engineer, the weights, actual loads applied in the batching plant, and the reading observed are noted by the engineer, and the error is calculated, and it is well within the permissible error, then only the calibration certificate is issued. We can see here tolerance as per 4926 is high. It is plus or minus 3% for aggregates. But if you look into the MoRTH standard, it is only plus or minus 2%. So each standard says its own specifications. And if you see the aggregate weighing systems, again 3%. Cement weighing system, it is 2 here. But as per MoRTH, it is only 1%. So water and chemical admixture. There are a lot of deviations happen in the water and chemical weighing admixture. This is the most important area. When the calibration is done, we have to focus more on dispensing of chemical admixtures. And coming to the quality control in the RMC plant, there are 3 components in quality control of RMC plant. First is the forward control, second is immediate control, and third is retrospective control. Let us see what it is. Forward control deals with control of purchased material quality. That means never go by brand, sir. I will tell you one thing. Even a centralized RMC, Pan-India presence RMC has appointed Katrina Kaif as their brand ambassador. You don't require brand ambassadors for RMC plant. You need a proper quality control guy who can maintain your plant. So don't ever see the brand or the brand ambassador. Always test and then approve. You take the case of legendary cricketer VVS Lakshman. He holds a steel bar and says this is as good as me. But it tests, when you test in the laboratory, it may fail. It fails. Sometimes it fails in our laboratory also. So never go by brand or something. Always ensure all the incoming raw materials are tested as per the standards and they are meeting the specifications. Then only you have the control on the purchased material quality. So control on material storage. Storage plays a vital role when it comes to the performance of the concrete. We will see in the next slide how the storage plays a major role. And mix design and records. So if you see the batching plants, there are batching plants which can reset the inputs of the ingredients in the concrete and take a batching sheet, print sheet. But MoRTH, Ministry of Road Transport, doesn't allow a plant which can able to reset the weights in the batching sheet. So you have to see whatever is the actual design that should be given in the delivery challan. And Plant maintenance and records, transfer and weighing equipment. He deals with the many kinds of equipments in the plant mixers and track mixers. If you see the purchase of incoming material, if you see there are many different sources of raw material where you can purchase. But flaky and elongated aggregates are not ideal for good quality concretes. So it is always suggested to buy aggregates which are from a sophisticated crusher, especially containing VSI, vertical shaft impact. It gives the cubical shape to the aggregate, which in turn develops a good packing density in your concrete. So this is not a parking lot, sir. This is when I went to an audit of RMC plant, I suggested that the aggregate should be stored under the controlled condition. This is a new, it is under construction. He has provided different compartments for different aggregates. It should be stored in this condition. Coming to the temperature of aggregates, if you allow the aggregates to rest on the direct exposure to the sunlight, the temperature of aggregates may shoot up to, I can say, 60 to 70 degrees on a hot summer. This aggregate is mainly basalt, and the type of aggregate I am telling you, and at ambient temperature of 40 degrees, the basalt aggregate stone was having a temperature of 63.1 on its surface. And if you take the case of granite, ambient temperature was only 40, but the temperature of the aggregate was 54.1. That means based on the type of aggregate also, the heat will vary, the surface temperature will vary. So I get an example when I see this slide. When I was dealing with a mixed design in Ramagundam Fertilizer Complex Limited, which is 250 kilometers from Hyderabad, it was a 9,000 crore project opened by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. So in that project, the contractor was from Taiwan, Sinda Engineering from Taiwan. So he has given me the material for mixed design, and I have conducted some mixed design, and we gave the results. Everything was fine. He has installed the batching plant, and the day one when they are starting the concrete, they have done the trial in the batching plant, and the slump observed was 0. But my mixed design report says slump observed is 175 mm. Immediately they added some dosage, increment of dosage of admixture. They have incremented water dosage, even though there is 0 slump. When I went to the batching plant, as requested by the contractor, I have visited the plant. When I saw the aggregate temperature, it was burning hot. Ramagundam is one of the highest temperature area in Telangana region, especially in peak summer. The temperature of aggregate was 70 degrees. So with that aggregate, you directly putting in the batching plant and you expect slump to be 170, impossible. The surface condition of the aggregate should be monitored frequently. When you take the case of northern part of India, the aggregates are saturated and they are covered under cold climate. If the aggregates are below 15 degrees, your concrete may have a freeze and thaw effect. In those cases, you need to have air entraining admixture up to 5 to 6% based on the temperature of the aggregates and the temperature of the concrete. So different parts of our country, there are different scenarios. If you deal with hot areas, you need to add proper water absorption correction, and you have to store the aggregates properly. When it comes to cold climatic areas, you need to heat the aggregates so that minimum 15 degrees is to be attained in the concrete. And coming to the immediate control, that is all about the forward control, which we take care before producing the concrete. Immediate control is concerned with instant action to control the quality of the concrete which is being produced. It includes production control, product control. Each load shall be inspected for temperature, density, workability before dispatch. In transit mixtures or transit trucks, I can say, carrying concrete shall be covered by tarpaulin sheet during transit to protect the concrete from sun and rain. If rain comes suddenly in the transit mix, if there is no covering, the water cement ratio may vary. The strength may get lesser strength than the designed strength. So these kind of, if it is exposed to hot sun also, acceleration in setting may happen, heat of hydration may increase, in turn it reduces the strength. Many problems are there, and these lines are extracted from the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So we have to maintain all these things. And when it comes to the concrete dealing with the agitator or the, I can say, transit mixtures, minimum 7 revolutions per minute is expected from a transit mixture when it is in loaded condition. And actually, if you see practical in a new RMC transit mixture, it can rotate up to 14 revolutions per minute. But standard expects minimum 7. And the wear and tear of the blade should be checked frequently. And this comes under immediate control. Before the concrete is placed in the site, The immediate control deals with the mixing and the check for temperature and slump. You can see here, when it comes to the temperature of concrete, if the fresh concrete temperature is below 25 degrees, the transit time can be up to 120 minutes. If it is above 29 degrees, I can say the transit time should be only 90 minutes. This is written in the standard. So whenever the temperature of concrete plays a vital role, and if you see the RMC code also, the maximum transit time for the concrete is given 2 hours when there is no admixture. But if you have any admixture, you can increase it, but you have to have a proper quality control on the concrete. And this is the photograph of concrete, PQC, pavement quality concrete, and dumping in front of the paver, and it is fed with the backhoe loader. Generally we call it as JCB, but technically we call it as backhoe loader, which feeds the concrete into the paver. And this is how the automatic insertion of double bars in the concrete takes place, and this is how the finishing is done. I just wanted to show you a video how the concrete is done in a slow manner. I think it may make a lot of noise because of the pavement side. I request you to reduce the volume. So this is how the fresh concrete of PQC looks like. Very cohesive, and the slump recorded will be around 25 plus or minus 15 mm, not more than that. So this is how the process of the finishing of concrete is done. On the back side, you can see there is a texturing machine which comes and applies the texture by its own means. So you can see here the contraction joints are cut and it is cleaned and then filled with which there are 3 kinds of sealants. Polysulfide sealant can be used, polyurethane sealants can be used, and silicone sealants also can be used. So filling shall not be done before 21 days of age of concrete. Only after 21 days of age of concrete you are supposed to fill the joints using sealants. Now after immediate control we move into retrospective control. Retrospective control is concerned with those factors that influence the control of concrete quality that cannot be assessed at the time of production. For example, you take 28 days strength result. We cannot assure the 28 days strength results while the time of producing the concrete. We just predict what would be the strength. So this comes under retrospective control, and handling of complaints also comes under retrospective control. And you can see, as mentioned by Dr. Surendra Singh sir on the first day of the presentation, the flexure strength is done on a 4-point loading system. This is the flexural stress machine available with our laboratory. It's a 4-point loading system. You can see for the flexural strength of concrete. So delivery ticket of the RMC should contain many parameters: name, serial number of the ticket, date, truck number, name of the purchaser, name and location of the site, grade of concrete, workability, minimum cement, lot, everything should be mentioned in the delivery challan. Now coming to the recent developments in the concrete industry. People are expecting high yearly strength for precast structures. See, you can see this is MIT grade of concrete with 470 cement. We have deviated the standard because the designer is not from India. He doesn't want to restrict cement content to 450. So we have used, based on the customer request, we have used the cement content 470. And Alcofine we have used 100. The water cement ratio was only 0.20 for MIT grade of concrete. And imagine 24 hours compressive strength was 57.8 Newton per mm square. The requested was only 50 MPa. We gave 57.8 MPa at the end of 24 hours. And at the end of 36 hours, it was 68.1. At 7 days, it was 82. And 28 days, it was 96.4. Let me tell you one thing, sir. MIT grade concrete, the highest recorded compressive strength in our laboratory is 125 Newton per mm square. So high yearly strength concrete is order of the day. So you can see here the MIT mixed design which I showed you was used in constructing the 24-story precast concrete structure in Hyderabad. But we can also use, you can see in the bottom, the concrete roads of M40 grade also can be constructed using precast technology with high strengths. Example is precast concrete pavement construction at Nagpur, already started in India. So we can use high strength precast concrete in road making also. And coming to the self-compacting concrete, when it comes to the fixed form paving, MIT grade of concrete self-compacting also can be used. This is how the self-compacting concrete flow looks like. It should be evenly separate, flow should be spread evenly and there should not be any segregation and bleeding. So this is a video of self-compacting concrete. The flow should look like a full moon and there should not be any bleeding and segregation. And coming to the advancement in concrete, people have started using water chiller units, keeping in mind the heat of hydration and the temperature rise in the concrete. So the cost of this chilling unit is around 25 lakh rupees. And temperature monitoring inside the concrete also developed, because if you use pure OPC for at least M40 grade concrete, the temperature inside core concrete may shoot up to 100 degrees also. So the importance of monitoring the temperature is on the concrete also has taken a pace. And you can see the mixed design we have designed for US Consulate in Hyderabad. White concrete we have designed as per American Concrete Institute 211. Fair face concrete, that means you will not do any plastering and painting. It is a white concrete and it is made with 10 ingredients for forced entry ballistic resistant FEBR walls we call it. If you send a bullet, if you say a bullet or missile, the concrete will not collapse, it is intact. So the client is United States Department of Offshore Building Operations, and this is the mixed design. We have used grey cement, white cement, titanium dioxide, fine aggregate, 19 mm, 9 mm aggregate, and admixtures, waterproofing chemicals, corrosion inhibitors, many things we have used in one single mixed design. And you can see the cylinders, you can see on the right side of the photograph, the white concrete looks fair enough that there is not even a single pop out on the cylinder sample. This is how the concrete is constructed in the US Consulate in Hyderabad. And when it comes to high strength concrete, while dealing with the high strength concrete, in addition to the test specified in IS 383, suitability of source of aggregates has to be verified and unconfined compressive strength of rock should be measured. Why? Because there are some sources of aggregates, the unconfined compressive strength of the rock may be below 60 also sometimes. Even though it is granite, the unconfined compressive strength of the rock may be below 60. And those kind of aggregates, if you use in high strength concretes, the aggregates may get touched. So UCS of rock is more important. Petrographic examination, to see the total structure of the rock, we need to do the petrographic examination inside the microscope, and alkali aggregate reactivity tests are suggested. And behavior of chemical admixtures, especially in high strength concrete, shall be understood by conducting both physical and chemical tests on admixtures as per IS 9103, and performance of mineral admixture in concrete shall also be verified. in high strength concrete, cement and supplementary cementitious material, for example, fly ash and GGBS, they may conform to their specifications, but they may not attain required strength development in high strength concrete. It is a practical problem which we face when we design high strength concrete. Your cement may give 65 MPa at the end of 28 days. Your fly ash comparative strength may be more than 85%, but when you mix in high strength concrete, there is no result. So we should understand properly how the materials are behaving and what is the water cement ratio to be adopted. Because cement test is done at a particular consistency value and particular amount of water is added. But in concrete, you don't have control on water. That means the water cement ratio may vary based on the aggregate temperatures, aggregate absorption corrections, admixture dosages. So it should be understood by doing the trials only. And suggested replacement in cement concrete as per IRC 44, fly ash can be used up to 25%, GGBS 50%, Natacolin 20%, silica fume 5 to 10%. And there are new generation supplementary cementitious materials which are in the market. Ultrafine fly ash can be used up to 5 to 10%. A standard is not yet published, it is in the draft mode, and I think by December 2020 there will be an Indian standard on ultrafine fly ash. And ultrafine GGBS, which is nothing but alcofine, we can use up to 5 to 10%. And these materials are strictly to be used only when you are dealing with high strength concrete. Ordinary concrete, if you add this, it is a very huge loss. The mix is not economical because these are having a very high cost. The cost of kg of cement is 7 rupees. Cement you get for 7 rupees, fly ash 1 or 1.5 rupee, GGBS 2.5 3 rupees, ultrafine fly ash 12 to 15 rupees, and GGBS, ultrafine GGBS, it is 20 to 25, and micro silica will cost you 23 to 25 rupees per kg, I am telling. So these materials should be used when only you are using high strength concretes. Now we move to chemical admixture. Just basic definitions. What are these chemical admixtures? Any material other than water, aggregates, cement and additives such as pozzolana or slag and fiber used as an ingredient of concrete or mortar and added to batch immediately before or during its mixing to modify one or more properties of concrete in the plastic or hardened state. So there are different types of admixtures. If you look into ASTM-C 494 point of view, type A, type B, type F, type G, many are there. You can call it water reducing, retarding, accelerating, water reducing and high range water reducing. But in our country, we say plasticizer and super plasticizer. So they belong to a group of chemical compounds known as dispersants, used to reduce water in the mix design. As a result, increases strength and increases workability also. Now, how does it increase the workability? As they are known as dispersant or dispersing agent, material added to a solid in liquid suspension to prevent the individually suspended particles from fluctuating. So you can see the insertion of admixture or addition of admixture in concrete disperses the material and it increases the workability. And coming to the major types of admixture, there are many types of chemical admixtures in the market, but frequently and regularly used there are only two types. One is sulfonated naphthalene formaldehyde based, in which I can say concrete admixture is in this kind of admixture can be used up to a grade of M35. And these sulfonated naphthalene formaldehyde are extracted from the pit coal in tar refinery process, and the water reduction may be up to maximum 25%. And the performance of the admixtures mainly depend on dosage of the admixture, type of the admixture, model, sometimes cost as well. See, what happens is, consider one brand of admixture, one model, they cost 50 rupees per kg. If the contractor negotiates with the admixture manufacturer, he may give it to 45 rupees, but he will reduce the solid content. In turn, it reduces the performance in your concrete. So sometimes not all the manufacturers do this, but there are many agencies who do this. So care must be taken. Whatever you are ordering should be the sample which meets your requirements in the field. Now, another type basically used is polycarboxylate ether-based admixtures, and these are preferred above M35 grade, and they are based on tailor-made synthetic copolymers. Especially, the water reduction can be taken up to 40%. But here, one thing I want to suggest is, while buying this polycarboxylated or using this polycarboxylated ether-based admixtures in your concrete, please refer the product specification or the technical data sheet of the admixture before its use in high strength concrete, because if you slightly increase the dosage by 0.1% by weight of cement also, it may lead to bleeding, segregation, especially when it's used with GGBS and fly ash in concrete. So PC admixtures are very sensitive and it should be thoroughly understood before using it in your concrete. And you can see here, without plasticizer, it takes a lot of amount of water to increase the flow of concrete. But with super plasticizer in your concrete, the workability or the flow can be achieved with minimum water, and that is why these admixtures are compulsory when it comes to high strength concretes. If you can see in this video, there is a good mix happening in the drum mixer, but when the concrete is shifted into the trolley, the coarse aggregates are getting separated from the cement matrix. This is mainly because a problem related to compatibility. When your admixture and your cement is not compatible, you face this kind of segregation issues. And coming to the rigid pavement types, we all know there are three main types: jointed plain concrete pavement, jointed reinforced concrete pavement, and continuous reinforced concrete pavement. This is how they look like: the longitudinal joints and the contraction joints, double bars, and this is the reinforced pavement, and this is the continuous reinforced pavement. And this is how the crust composition will look like. This is already explained: subgrade, subbase, base course, lean concrete, and the wearing concrete. Now, this is a photograph of the project which I was involved until the completion of the project, from the beginning of the project. This is constructed in the state of Gujarat, from Vadodara, Godhra and MP border road. Earlier it was NH47, now it is NH59 I think. And it was a 4-lane road project which consists of M40 grade of concrete, and this was constructed using natural river sand. Total concrete was constructed using natural river sand, and the cost of the project was 798 crores. And this project was completed in the year 2010, I think, and this is a recent photograph also. Still it is in the same condition. You can see some more photographs. I just wanted to show you. So we move on to the actual topic: concrete mix design, which is the science of determining the relative proportions of the ingredients of concrete to achieve the desired properties in the most economical way. So concrete mix proportion chosen should be such that the concrete is of adequate workability for the glazing conditions. It can be compacted with means of available means, and in hardened state, concrete shall have required strength, durability, and surface finish. Not only durability, we need to know more about sustainability also. Now, objective of concrete mix design. The objectives are: the concrete mix design should meet the strength requirements, fulfills the durability requirements, and it can be mixed, transported, and compacted as efficiently as possible, and it has to have a satisfactory appearance and should be as economical as possible. And when it comes to the process of concrete mix design, there are 3 stages. First stage, you need to make a practical estimate about the mix based on IRC 44. And once the data is published, you need to take the properties of the aggregates, and then small scale trials shall be conducted in the laboratory. After that, full scale sites shall be conducted in the site before the construction begins. So one thing I want to highlight here is, it is always advisable to design the trial mixes with those materials that will be used in the job site, so that the adjustments can be easily understood and implemented in the field. So what happens is, if you take a practical national highway projects, the length of the project will be around 100 km, but the mix design will be 1 for PQC. It should not be the same. Whenever you change the source of the aggregates, the mix design should vary. So that is more important. And I have some contractors, they buy the material from Hyderabad and give the mix design, and they do the project in somewhere else. That should not be the criteria, sir. Whatever material you are using in your concrete, in your project, same material shall be done the trial, so that any corrections shall be made, it is easily understood. So mix proportion calculations as per IRC 44. There are some data which has to be required before doing the mix proportions. Early age strength requirement. We have done one mix design for early age for cement concrete pavement. I will show you in the further slides. So one is the, if you when you are designing the concrete, you need to ask what is the early age strength requirement, do they have or not. Second is grade, which grade of concrete we are going to design, and based on what criteria we are designing, either by flexural strength or compressive strength. And third is, what is the maximum water cement ratio you allow as per the standard, and what is the minimum cement content, and what is the type of cement we are using, OPC, PPC or PSC or composite, whichever cement you can use. These 4 cements are permissible as per IRC 44. And maximum nominal size of the aggregate, 31 to 9.5 mm size, you can choose whichever nominal size you want. But one thing I want to add here, when you are dealing with high strength concretes, lower size of aggregates is most preferable. So maximum cement content, which is 450, degree of workability, retention time, what is the transit time, that should be known before design, and maximum temperature of concrete. As I told you, if the temperature of concrete is more, the transit time will come down, the placing time will come down. So maximum temperature of concrete should be recorded before the design is done. So early age strength requirements I already discussed, and type of aggregate. Before using particular aggregate in your concrete, better get a petrographic examination done. It classifies which type of rock you are using, whether you are using granite, basalt or limestone or sandstone, whatever it may be. And type of aggregates deals with, when it comes to fine aggregates, whether it is a river sand or crushed sand. One thing I want to focus here is, see, people have still a miscommunication of crushed stone sand being used in concrete, but when it comes to the question of high performance, high strength concrete, crushed sand is more preferable than natural river sand. And maximum cement content we already discussed, and use of admixture we already discussed. And coming to the step-by-step procedure, this is already discussed with you. Target mean strength and standard deviation, it has to be calculated for 30 cubes, already discussed by Surendra sir. So I don't want to focus more on it. And when it comes to this assumption of standard deviation, based on flexural strength, if you want 4.5 to 5.5 Newton per mm square, the standard deviation shall be assumed as 0.4 Newton per mm square. When you design the concrete for a flexural strength of 3.5 or 4, the assumed standard deviation shall be 0.35 Newton per mm square. And as I told you, when it comes to high strength concretes above M65, the standard deviation, when you design as per compressive strength point of view, the standard deviation shall be taken as 6.0 Newton per mm square. Now, air content is available. It is in the concrete. You cannot escape it, as discussed. But one thing you have to note is, air content is designed for different grades of concrete in a different dosage. When you deal with lower size of aggregate, that means nominal size of aggregate is 9.5, 12 or 19, the entrapped air percentage is also less. That you have to make it clear. And selection of water cement ratio mainly depends on different types of cement you are using, supplementary cementitious materials, aggregates of different sizes, shape, texture, and they produce different compressive strength results in your concrete. Therefore, the relationship between the strength and free water cement ratio shall be preferably established, and for the materials actually to be used. And this is the table number 15 as per IRC 44, a recommended water cementitious ratio for high strength concrete made with high range water reducing admixtures. Now, today's example, I can take the example of compressive strength with 65 Newton per mm square. We are designing the concrete. So, if you are using 9.5 mm aggregate, the water cement ratio shall be taken as 0.36. This is a tentative guideline, sir. Doesn't mean that you have to fix to this. You can even further reduce the water content, but you can increase slightly more also. Please see to that you are adding minimum water required for the hydration process. Don't go for very low water cement ratio, because the water, there is some quantity of water which is required for the hydration process. Now, selection of water content. Water content per unit volume of concrete is influenced by many factors such as aggregate shape, size, texture, water cement ratio, cement and other mineral admixtures type, content, chemical admixtures, and environmental conditions. An increase in aggregate size, a reduction in aggregate, a reduction in water cement ratio and slump, and use of rounded aggregates and water reducing admixture will reduce the water demand. On the other hand, increased temperature, higher cement content, slump requirement, higher slump requirement, higher water cement ratio, aggregate angularity, and decrease in proportion of coarse aggregate to fine aggregate will increase the water demand. The quantity of maximum mixing water content should be as per the table given in the IRC standards. You can see here, this is the table 14 of IRC 44. If you are using 9.5 mm aggregate as your nominal size, maximum size, the water, when it is taken in the surface saturated condition of the aggregate, it should not exceed more than 196 kg. So in the same case, if you are dealing with 19 mm aggregate as a nominal maximum size, the water content shall not be more than 180 kg per cubic meter. Now this is a generalized water cement ratio or the strength graph. We all know as the water cement ratio reduces, the strength will increase. So reduction in water content can be made in the following cases. By using subangular aggregates, you can reduce the 10 kg of weight of the coarse aggregates. For gravel, uncrushed particles, you can reduce by 20 kg. Rounded gravels, you can reduce by 25 kg. And for higher workability, other than 25 to 50 mm, the required water content may be established by trial and error for every increase by 3% for additional slump increment of 25 mm. Same applies when you want a lesser slump also. You have to reduce minus 3%. If you want additional 25 mm slump, you increase water by 3%. If you want 25 mm less slump, you reduce by 3% water. So calculation of cementitious content. The cement content and mineral admixture content per unit volume of concrete, together called as cementitious content, may be calculated from the free water cement ratio and the quantity of water per unit volume of concrete. The total cementitious content so calculated shall be checked against the minimum content for the requirements of durability and the greater of the two values adopted. So we all know 450 kg is given in IS 456 and same is implemented in IRC 44 also. Whereas minimum cement content shall not be less than 360 kg when it comes to the question of pavement quality concrete. Use of mineral admixture, we all know it is 25% for fly ash, but when you use in high strength concrete, you see the lower limit is also given, 15 to 25% when high strength concrete comes into question. And in that cases, minimum cement content pure cement should be 310 OPC. And if you are using GGBS in your high strength concrete, prefer lower dosage of GGBS, 25 to 50 is permissible. And in those cases, minimum pure cement OPC shall be 250 kg per cubic meter. Chemical admixtures we have already discussed. Based on the type, performance, you can vary the dosage from 10 to 40% based on the admixture performance. Estimation of coarse aggregate. This is estimated from a table 17 of IRC 44, and this is given for a water cement ratio of 0.30 based on the zone of sand. Yesterday, I think day before yesterday, we discussed what is a zone of sand. If your sand is conforming to zone 2, and if you are using 19 mm coarse aggregate, you can see here, if you are using 19 mm coarse aggregate, if your sand is conforming to zone 2, the volume of coarse aggregate shall be 0.70. This is how it is adopted. For the most of the cases, concrete constructions, we use nominal sizes 19 mm. Coarse aggregate from stone crushers are nominally available in two sizes, 20 mm and 10 mm or sometimes 12.5 mm. Coarse aggregates of different sizes can be suitably combined so as to satisfy the graded requirements of as per IS 44, IRC 44. So, if you look into the grading chart for pavement quality concrete given in IRC 44, based on the maximum size of aggregate, different grading requirements are given, and trust me sir, this does not conform to the requirements as per the MoRTH. MoRTH has some other gradation requirements. So, before entering a project, the tender specification should clearly specify whether the PQC is going to be conformed as per IRC 44 or as per MoRTH standard. Accordingly, our mixed design should be arrived. So, when it comes to the question of fine aggregates, use of crushed stone sand instead of river sand is increasing. Relation of such crushed sand is required to be monitored carefully, because if the 150 microns passing is beyond 20%, definitely there is a chance of shrinkage cracks in your concrete. Shrinkage not only happens because of fines in your fine aggregate, but also if the wind velocity in your construction site is more than 5 kmph, I can say most of the highway projects are done in an open area where the wind velocity is high. If the wind velocity is more than 5 km/h, definitely there is a shrinkage crack in your PKC. So these kind of problems we have to take care, and additional care should be taken when it comes to the question of shrinkage. But manufactured sand can also be used. I just wanted to focus on this. So there is an example of concrete mix design of M65 grade based on compressive strength. I just wanted to tell you how it is being calculated. So the grade of concrete designation is M65. Cement we are using is OPC 53, conforming to IS 269. Silica fume we are using conforming to IS 15388. And the nominal size of aggregate is taken as 19 mm. Minimum cement content, we all know it is 360. Maximum cement content, maximum water cement ratio is 0.4, and workability requirement is 15 to 35 mm. The degree of supervision is good, and the type of aggregate is crust angular aggregate. Maximum cement content is 450 kg per cubic meter, and chemical admixture we are using super plasticizer. And coming to the data, specific gravity of cement is 3.15. We have to perform this test. See, most of the cases I see the cement specific gravity is assumed to be 3.15. No. Sir, the cement specific gravity of OPC cement varies from 3.05 to 3.15 or sometimes 3.03 also. See, you cannot directly take cement specific gravity as 3.15 because specific gravity plays a major role in your concrete mix proportioning. So, specific gravity of cement shall be done using Le-Chatelier's flask. So, specific gravity of silica fume will be around 2.2. Chemical admixture conforming to IS 9103. Specific gravity of coarse aggregate is taken as 2.74 in this design, and fine aggregate specific gravity is taken as 2.62, and coarse aggregate water absorption is taken as 0.5%, and fine aggregate water absorption is taken as 1%. But one thing I want to tell you here, the 1% fine aggregate in the standard which has been referred in the example is only for river sand. If you are using crushed sand, the water absorption may go beyond 2 and 3 or 4% also. If you are dealing with basalt, especially in the case of region in the Solapur, in Maharashtra, Rajahmundry, in Andhra Pradesh, there we have a lot of basalt aggregates. The water absorption of the basalt will be more than 3% and sometimes 4 also. The specific gravity also is around 2.9. So the absorption shall be taken in a proper manner. So coming to the coarse aggregate, there is no surface moisture in this case. Fine aggregate, there is no surface moisture. Fine aggregate is conforming to zone 2, it has to be performed, and then coarse aggregate is conforming to graded size as per the 19 mm. See, and target mean strength for this M65 grade is, you can see 65 plus 1.65 into 6, and that is 74.9. So in this case, we are approximately entrapped air for 19 mm size is 0.5% as per table 13. So we are assuming the air content as 0.5%. So selection of water cementitious ratio. Again, this table 15, as I told you, it is given for a water cement ratio of 0.30. We are using in this design 0.29. So that means in this 0.29, you can see here selection of water content is maximum water permissible in the table 14 is 180 kg per cubic meter for a slump range of 50 mm. But we need 25 mm slump, 15 to 40 mm is required. We don't require 50 mm slump. So what we do is, for reduction of 25 mm slump, that means estimated water content for 25 mm slump will be 180 minus 3% of water. That becomes 175 kg per cubic meter. So as super plasticizer is used, we are using a polycarboxylated ether based admixture, we can reduce up to 30% of water. So 175 liters, you reduce it by 30%, it becomes 122.5 kg per cubic meter, which is nothing but 123 kg per cubic meter. So water cement ratio taken in this case is 0.29. Cement content is 123 divided by 0.29. 123 is the water content and 0.29 is the water cement ratio. So water divided by water cement ratio will give you the cement content, which is nothing but 424 kg per cubic meter. So in this case, being a high strength concrete, we are using silica fume at the rate of 5%. So 424 multiplied by 5% will give you 21 kg of microsilica. So 21 kg shall be removed from the total cementitious content of 424 kg. That means your pure cement content will be 403 kgs and your silica fume is 21 kg per cubic meter. So if you look into the requirements as per IRC 15, minimum cement content is 360, which we are well exceeding, and 403 kg is greater than 360, so we can adopt the cement content as 403. And coming to the proportion of volume of coarse aggregate and fine aggregate content. As shown in the earlier slide, table number 17, volume of coarse aggregate corresponding to 19 mm size of aggregate and fine aggregate conforming to zone 2 for water cement ratio of 0.30 is 0.70. If you want, I can take you back to the slide. Yes, you can see here, this is the volume of coarse aggregate for a water cement ratio of 0.30. Zone 2 sand, 19 mm aggregate, it is 0.70 as per the table. That is what we have taken in the design. So here it comes as 0.70. As the water cement ratio is 0.29, the table is for 0.30, sir, and this table is for 0.29. So the design calculation will vary. So instead of 0.70, we will take 0.702 to reduce sand content. How does this 0.702 come into picture? Just a small calculation. 0.3 is the I can say the water cement ratio suggested in the table, but we are using 0.29. So 0.3 minus 0.29 divided by 0.05 into 0.01 plus the volume of coarse aggregate, which is 0.70. If you multiply, it comes 0.702. So that is the volume of coarse aggregate in your concrete. Now volume of fine aggregate is nothing but 1 minus coarse aggregate volume, which is nothing but 0.298. This is the volume of fine aggregate. Now we calculate the absolute volume of concrete by removing the air content. The volume of air, I can say 1 minus 0.5 percentage of air means volume is 0.005. So 0.995 is the total absolute volume of your concrete. So volume of cement is calculated by mass of cement, which is 403, divided by the specific gravity of cement multiplied by 1 by 1000. That means you arrive the volume of cement as 0.128 cubic meter. Now volume of silica fume, weight of silica fume 21 kg divided by specific gravity of silica fume multiplied by 1 by 1000. That gives you 0.010 cubic meter of silica fume. And volume of water weight is 123 divided by the specific gravity 1, you get 0.123 cubic meter of volume. When it comes to the chemical admixture, we are taking 0.8 percentage, but practically polycarboxylated ethers can be designed at 0.4 percentage only. But this example is in the standard, so I have taken 0.8, but 0.4 is more enough when it comes to the present days polycarboxylated ether based admixtures. So mass of the mass of this chemical admixture is 3.4 of total cementitious content. So 3.4 divided by specific gravity of admixture is 1.08. So the volume of chemical admixture is 0.003 cubic meter. And the volume of all in aggregate is calculated by the absolute volume minus cement volume, microsilica volume, water volume, admixture volume. So in the absolute volume, if you are removing cement, microsilica, water and chemical admixture, you are left out with the volume of aggregates. This 0.731 cubic meter is the volume of all in aggregates. So out of that, how to calculate the mass of coarse aggregate? So here you can see the volume of all in aggregate is F. F is nothing but 0.731 cubic meter. So you can see F multiplied by volume of coarse aggregate multiplied by specific gravity of coarse aggregate multiplied by 1000. So you can see what is F? 0.731, the volume of all in aggregate multiplied by volume of coarse aggregate is 0.702 multiplied by specific gravity is considered at 2.74 multiplied by 1000. So the mass of coarse aggregate is 1406 kg per cubic meter. Sir, proportions should fit as per the gradation requirements of PQC. The mass of total coarse aggregate is 1406. The proportion you have to design based on the gradations. Mass of fine aggregate is again all in aggregate weight, that is 0.731. Volume of all in aggregate, which is 0.731, multiplied by volume of fine aggregate, which is 0.298, multiplied by specific gravity of fine aggregate, which is 2.62 considered, multiplied by 1000. That gives you the weight of fine aggregate is 571 kg per cubic meter. That's it. Your high strength concrete design is completed. Cement content you have taken 403, silica fume 21 kg, water 123 kg, fine aggregate 571, coarse aggregate 1406, chemical admixture 3.4 kg per cubic meter, water cement ratio 0.29. Your mixed design is completed. But here you should understand one thing. Aggregate should be used in saturated surface condition, surface type condition. So this mixed design is done as per the aggregates in SSD condition. If the aggregates are not in SSD condition, you need to do some water absorption corrections. Now, how to do the water absorption correction? When your aggregates are in dry conditions, So the total weight of fine aggregate, if you take in the previous slide, in SSD condition, the weight of fine aggregate is 571 kg per cubic meter. So the same 571, you have to divide by 1 plus water absorption of the aggregate divided by 100. That means you consider fine aggregate water absorption as 1. 1 plus 1 divided by 100 gives you 571 divided by 1.01. That becomes 565.3, say 565. So 6 kg per cubic meter is the water you need to add when your aggregate is in dry condition, so that it is being brought into SSD condition. In the same case of coarse aggregate, mass of coarse aggregate divided by 1 plus water absorption considered is 0.5 for coarse aggregate divided by 100, that gives you 1399 kg per cubic meter. Whereas in SSD condition, it is 1406. So 1406 minus 1399, 7 kgs is what you add, the water you add additional to make the aggregates become into SSD condition. So again, if you calculate the proportions in dry conditions, we can see the water is increased. Instead of 123, you are taking 136 kgs. 6 kgs, you are adding extra water, which is absorbed by fine aggregate. From 571 minus 565 becomes 6. So in the same case, fine aggregate 6 kgs you have to reduce, and the same 6 kgs you add in the water content. In the same case of coarse aggregates, 7 kgs you reduce in the weight and you add in the water content. That becomes your mixed proportions as per dry condition. And one thing I want to tell you here, sir, leave it about national highway projects, they maintain a proper quality control. But in the local constructions, in the sites of low volume concretes or CC pavements in the cities, there is no absorption correction. If it rains, भाई साहब 10 लीटर पानी कम करो, बारिश गिरा. If there is no rain, they add water, 10 kgs. Simple thumb rule they take, but it should not be accepted. Each and every hour the aggregate shall be monitored for the moisture and the water absorption corrections. So the slump shall be measured and the water content and dosage of admixture shall be adjusted for achieving the required slump. Based on the trial, if required, the mixed proportion shall be reworked for the actual water content and checked for the durability parameters. 2 more trials you have to conduct with a variation of 10% in the water cement ratio, and the strength shall be plotted. The optimum mix design has to be reported to the customer, or in the site you can use it. So another example I just wanted to show you for a normal M40 grade of concrete based on flexural strength. So the flexural strength grade is designed for 4.5 Newton per mm square. Cement considered here is OPC 43. Nominal maximum size in this case taken is 31.5. Minimum cement content is 360. Maximum water cement ratio is 0.4, and slump is again 15 to 35 mm desired. And all other things are same. And if you can see, the specific gravities and the absorption properties are same. So you can see the target mean strength for M40 grade of concrete in terms of flexure strength will be 5.16 Newton per mm square. So again, in this case, you have to reduce the water by 3%. So here what we have taken is the water cement ratio taken is 0.32, and the slump value is designed for 50 mm in the table, but in our mix design it is designed for 25 mm. So we have to reduce by 3% water. Water becomes 160, and when you are using normal super plasticizer, it may reduce up to 20%. So 160 liter again I reduce to 20%. It becomes 128 liter. So again, cement content is calculated by weight of water divided by water cement ratio will give you the cement content, which is nothing but 400 in this case. So it is greater than the 360 mentioned in IRC. So the cement content is satisfactory. So what we do is we take the volume of coarse aggregate and volume of fine aggregate. One thing I want to tell you, sir, in this design, the table number is different. Table number 11, but in that design it was table number 15, I suppose. So based on the size of the aggregate and the strength of the concrete, and you have to change the tables. So in this table, we have taken accordingly the coarse aggregate proportion as 0.686 after corrections. So volume of concrete is 1, and the air content is here 8%. So 0.8%. So volume of cement comes 127 meter cube. That means cement weight by specific gravity of cement, and volume of water is 128. Volume of chemical admixture is 0.0033, and weight of all in aggregate becomes 0.7337 here. I think it is clear the volume of all in aggregate is 0.992 is the absolute volume. From that, you have to remove the weight of cement, water, and chemical admixture. Here there is no microsilica, sir. Here there is no microsilica, it is pure cement. So the volume of all in aggregate becomes 0.7337. So 0.7337 is multiplied by the volume of coarse aggregate 0.686, multiplied by the specific gravity of coarse aggregate, multiplied by 1000. The weight of or mass of coarse aggregate is 1379 kg, and the same fashion mass of fine aggregate is 604 kg. Your mixed design is done. The water cement ratio is 0.32 and the cement content is 400 kg per cubic meter. So details of M60 grade pavement quality concrete, trial done in Steadron laboratory. This is a mixed design which we have done practically to a site, I can say. You can see here in this mixed design we have used 25 mm, 12 mm river sand and crushed sand in different proportions. And you can see the mixed design. Cement content was taken as 425 kg. Microsilica taken was 45 kg. Water cement ratio was 0.28. The proportion of concrete was 1:1.57 is 2.39. And this concrete was designed for flexure strength. The authority, Hyderabad Road Development Corporation, required the concrete to attain the flexural strength of 5 Newton per mm square at the end of 48 hours. Because after 2 days, they want to allow the traffic to move on the road. So they requested us to do a high strength concrete mixed design of M60 grade so that they can allow the traffic within no time. So we have designed the concrete with micro polymeric fibers. So the concrete's flexural strength was satisfactory. So we have given the mixed design, and this is the photograph of the 6-lane road project, which is in Hyderabad, Kajaguda Nanakaramguda road project. And if you can see here, the median is big, and beside the median, there is a paver block provision of M60 grade. The paver blocks are there up to a length of 1.5 meters, so that in near future, if there is a metro line going on that road, there is no problem to the PQC design. So this is how they have done in Hyderabad. And coming to the problems associated with rigid pavements, I don't call it as distresses because the topic is already discussed. There is a problem in the carbonation of concrete when it comes to rigid pavement. Emission of carbon dioxide from vehicles is a factor of concern not only for the environment but also for the cement concrete pavement. Carbonation of concrete is a process by which carbon dioxide present in air penetrates into the concrete pavement and reacts with calcium hydroxide to form calcium carbonates. The carbonation reduces the alkalinity of concrete. Concrete, when it is firstly cast, it is highly alkaline. The pH value of concrete will be 13 to 14 for a freshly laid concrete or a freshly hardened concrete, I can say. But once the concrete is carbonated, the pH value comes down to 8.3 to 9. Your pH value is down means your concrete is not alkaline, and because of this carbonation, let me tell you one thing clear, sir. The absolute volume of concrete will be same, but inside the concrete, the pores will increase because of the carbonation. The calcium hydroxide in your concrete creates pores when this concrete is carbonated. This forms a passive oxide layer on the dowel bars and the tie bars, thereby protecting the steel from corrosion. If your concrete is highly alkaline, it protects the dowel bars and the tie bars. If the concrete is not alkaline, it is carbonated, this layer will be broken and the corrosion will set in. So there is a test which can determine the depth of carbonation in your pavements. A solution of phenolphthalein indicator, normally 1 gram phenolphthalein is dissolved in 70 ml of ethyl alcohol and diluted in 100 ml of distilled water. In situ testing may be carried out by chiseling from the pavement under investigation in a freshly broken area of concrete. Above the freshly broken area, the solution shall be sprayed on the exposed concrete and the instantaneous color change to red-purple should be measured, and this should happen within 30 seconds of spraying. If the color change is low, this method may not give the accurate results of carbonation. Alternative tests like petrographic examination should be adopted. Now, if you spray the solution, the concrete turns into pink color. Pink, I can say red-purple color. Immediately before 30 seconds, if it is changing the color, then your concrete is alkaline. It is not carbonated. If there is no change, the concrete is carbonated and your concrete is sick. I just want to show you a video which we have done on the pavement. You can see here in front of our laboratory, we have chipped the concrete on the surface of the pavement and we have sprayed this phenolphthalein solution mixed with ethyl alcohol and distilled water. and you can see there is no change in the color. So that means your concrete is carbonated. Now we'll go and see a curbstone which we got for testing. So on this edge of the curbstone, we make a small break, and then we spray this solution. You can see it blushes into red purple color. That means this is a newly laid concrete and it has no carbonation. And some problems related to rigid pavements are also the surface wear. Freshly laid concrete, there is a surface wear because of lack of strength of concrete. You can see the shrinkage cracks in concrete. And there are a lot of problems related to shrinkage crack, as already discussed. If the contraction joints are lately solved, there may be chances of shrinkage cracks, and they have to be addressed in a proper manner. This is also one of the distress, I can say, mud pumping or pumping of water underneath the pavement. It breaks the concrete slab, and there are corner breaks and linear cracks observed in the. And there are some blow-ups due to the temperature variations inside the concrete, and they can also be rectified by removing and replacing the entire panel, and some linear cracking also is seen, and there are some problems related to that also. Coming to the good practices while dealing with concrete, please remember, don't let the concrete dry. It should be saturated, or it should be cured for a minimum period of 7 to 14 days. When you are using supplementary materials, minimum curing period should be 14 days. Dry concrete is equal to dead concrete. All the reactions will stop. Some people apply curing compounds on the top of the pavements. Yes, that is agreeable, but the performance of the curing compound is to be ensured. The purpose of applying curing compound on the top of the pavements is the water which we design in the concrete is self-sufficient to make the curing requirements in the concrete. That is why the curing compound is applied, so that the water inside the concrete will be self-sufficient to take care of the curing. So please don't let the concrete dry, and you cannot revitalize the concrete once it dries, and keep the temperature at moderate level. Concrete with supplementary cementitious materials require continuous and consistent good quality curing. As I told you, always use aggregates which conforms to IS 383. Prefer wave batching always. Don't prefer volume batching. And coming to the conclusion, mixed proportions of concrete mixes shall be based on trial mixes only. Computer software or mathematical modeling can only help to arrive the proportions for the preliminary trials. It is proper understanding of constituent materials of concrete from the basis of mixed proportioning. So with this, I end my session. And if any questions are there, you can please ask me.
Yeah, Santosh.
Sir.
Thank you for your excellent presentation. So
Thank you, sir.
always, actually, I have attended twice your presentation. There at one at ST, and this is the second time.
Sir.
So I request you go to chat box. There are some questions.
Yeah, I'll go, sir.
311. From 311.
Yeah, I will just open it.
Can vacuum dewatering system be used in CC pavements of highways, please?
Sir, actually your voice is low. I am opening, sir. Just let me open the chat box.
Yeah, Santosh, now okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Sir, I have opened the chat box.
311.
311. 1 second. Let me go on the top. 311. Yes. 311. Yeah. Can vacuum dewatering system be used in cement concrete pavements of highways? Yes, absolutely, sir. Because vacuum dewatering concrete pavements are being used in Hyderabad, especially in the HMDA, Hyderabad Metropolitan Development Agency. They are using vacuum dewatering system. Yes, we can use vacuum dewatering in highways also, but proper control on the dewatering process should be there. And the second question is, can the RMC with pumping method adaptable in open market with recommended for PQC for highway payments? Yes, it is not recommended or anywhere mentioned, but when it comes to concrete in fixed form, you can make the pumping arrangements, but the concrete slump should be as low as possible. And to be frank, you don't require high slump to pump the concrete. It is the pressure of the pump which is more important when you pump the concrete. Normal pumps can be used to pump the concrete in fixed form payments, but the slump of the concrete should be minimum and the pump pressure should be desirable. You should not go for the highest pump pressure because there may be a chances of segregation in your concrete. We can use it, sir. But most of the things, our Indian standard guidelines will give you only the guideline. At the end of the day, it is the engineer in charge in the site or the department engineers who take a call whether to go with the conventional concrete laying method or by using the slip form concrete. It's up to the engineer in charge. And coming to the third question, sir, because of high strength concretes, microstructure, it may lead to brittleness when compared to normal strength concrete. How do you judge the brittleness? Sir, brittleness, I can say, brittleness, we are using these high strength concretes in vertical constructions. Why can't we use in horizontal constructions? Brittleness means, see, how can you justify it is brittle, sir? Concrete itself, rigid pavement itself is a rigid one. It is not brittle, it is rigid one. It has a tendency for, taking the expansion and contractions. It is not brittle, I guess, but what specific admixtures will be added to take care of it? There are no as such admixtures which can take care of the brittleness. Yes. What is the maximum cement content used in SCC? SCC, actually, there is no standard which talks about SCC in pavement construction, but 450 kg per cubic meter is the maximum cement content. But when it comes to high strength concrete, additionally, you have to add supplementary cementitious materials so that you keep this 450 kg intact. In SCC, if SCC is used in pavement, what is the maximum percentage of replacement of mineral admixture? I have already told in the presentation. You can use up to 25% in the roads, GGBS 50%. SCC is a flowable concrete. How can it maintain the camber and gradient? That's what, sir. Fixed form pavements you have to take. And in those cases, the flow, very good question, sir. Flow should not be more. See, there are three slump flow classes. If you see SF1, SF2, and SF3. SF1 is 550 to 650 mm flow. SF2 is 650 to 750 mm flow. SF3 is 750 to 850 mm flow. If you take the case of SF1, the flow is less. There you don't have any problem related to the camber maintenance and other things. Once your levels are intact, you should have a auto level to check the levels also. That maintains all your camber requirements. And please share the PPT. Yes, I will do it. Can we go for vacuum? Yes, we can go for SCC model management. Sir, self-compacting concrete, people use 20 mm also, but the dosage of 20 mm shall be restricted to 20%. Better you go for lower size aggregates only. Can we use pumped RMC available in concrete? No, sir, it is not suggested. Pumped concrete means minimum slump of 100 mm. But in the pavements, it is not so advisable. Any recent advancement in road design optimization, artificial intelligence in the design as such, no. Data analytics, I can say, maturity of concrete can be measured using softwares. You can place thermocouples inside entire the road of the entire length of the project, and you can see the maturity, strength development versus the temperature. You can plot it, but it's very costly. You can sit in your office and see what is happening in the road concrete. You have a software for it. It's very expensive, but there is no standard which talks about it. Definitely in near future, I can say in the next coming 10 years also, there is no other material which can replace concrete. So in future, we may use this data analytics and softwares to monitor the strength development in the concrete. But trust me, they are very expensive. What is the minimum grade of concrete recommended for PQC? It is M40, sir. IS code for lightweight concrete. There is no IS code, sir. But lightweight concrete, you don't get requirement of strength. Lightweight concrete are designed for a minimum strength of 5 Newton per mm square or 10 Newton per mm square at the worst, with a density of 1100 kg per cubic meter. And lightweight aggregate are not readily available in the market. So I don't suggest going for lightweight aggregate, sir. And lightweight concrete also. Curing of concrete by wet clotting, not curing the chemicals. Anything you can do, sir. The ultimate aim for curing is you are not allowing the concrete to get dry. That is only the expectation from the curing. SCC, there is no research here, sir. People are using M80 grade SCC in 30-40 floors building. No much gaps are there. Confidently, completely they are using, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I think the questions are over.
Yeah.
Sir, I have one question. Can I ask?
Please.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So this is Vinamr.
Sir.
So my question is, whether have you encountered that on your concrete pavement you want to build a BT layer? So what surface preparation you do, and what your experience on that, if you have done that?
So overlay, sir, I think Amrendra sir is more into this overlays kind of thing. Yes, sir, we can do overlays on the top of concrete payments also. Isn't it, sir? Amrendra sir, you can explain, I think.
There are some issues related to concrete payment. The problem is, suppose on the existing concrete payment, we have the joints. So on the top of that one, if you do the overlay, joints and all have to be coincide and all those problems are there. So that's why if people are not dare to go for overlays on the concrete payments. Okay. Only in bituminous payments are going for, but in concrete payments still at a very initial stage. I think.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. I have one question.
Please, sir.
Sir, as you said, due to the carbonation, the pores will occur in the pavement at the same time. There will be a protection layer will happen around the steel bars. So,
Yeah, when there is no carbonation, sir, there will be a passive layer on the dowel bars and the tie bars. Once your
okay.
concrete is carbonated, the passive layer will break because the pH value comes down, and the pores inside your concrete will be open,
Yes, sir.
and the absolute volume will be the same, but inside the concrete becomes a bit porous.
Okay, due to that, performance of the concrete mix will decrease, no?
Yes, obviously the strength also will reduce.
Reduce.
Yeah, thank you, Santosh. Actually, like a participant, I just would like to inform you that if you have any doubts, I think that at the end, Santosh has given his number. If you
Yes,
have
sir.
any doubt related to the concrete, you can freely can talk to Santosh, because whenever I also get the doubt, not only me, he is providing his services to many of the steel manufacturing companies also. If you have any doubt related to the concrete, you can talk to him, because I know that I can say he has done more than 3,000 mixed designs. Of course, in Statted, their lab process, they have done more than 6,000 mixed designs. And particular Santosh involved in 6,000 mixed designs. Daily, they do at least 6 to 7 mixed designs. Recently, also, when I visited, I noticed that 6 to 7 mixed designs, like self-concrete, SCC, and M40 grade, are different grades of concrete. Okay. So, any doubts, if you have any time, you can talk to him. He is so nice, he can ready to answer. The mail ID or WhatsApp message also, if you can send, he can answer. Okay.
Sir, I thank Amrendra sir for giving me the opportunity, sir. It is because of you we learn many things, sir. And I want to share this. Amrendra sir is my MTech guide in my MTech project, and whenever I attend his class, something new I learn, and that is what I learned. Something new should be delivered also. If you know something new, it has to be shared, and that is what I learned from you, sir. And I keep forwarding it as a social corporate responsibility, I can say, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, Santosh, just wait. I now request our colleague Mr. Chaitanya to provide concluding remarks.
Good evening, all. So, myself G. Chaitanya, Assistant Professor in Department of Civil Engineering, RGIT RK Valley. While coming to the concluding remarks, Mr. Santosh Kumar started presentation by introducing concrete and why it is dispensable, and he explained why concrete is dispensable with a very beautiful comparison with water. And later on, he gave an overview of guidelines and codes related to the concrete design and testing for different structures. Later on, he thrown some light on RMC and the requirements for an RMC plant. So further, he explained the components of batching plant and what are the tolerance limits to be followed and calibrations required for that particular batching plant were discussed. Next, he explained very clearly about the control of RMC by dividing into three parts: forward control, immediate control, and retrospective control. So after clearly explaining all those controls, he introduced the recent developments in concrete like higher strength concrete, self-compacting concrete, and construction of payments using a precast technology, temperature monitoring inside concrete. Like that, he introduced some new topics. And later on, he discussed about the high strength concrete and what are the issues to be considered while designing an high strength concrete and material testing like that. Later, he introduced different chemical admixtures and out of those sulfonated naphthalene, formaldehyde, and polycarboxylate, their specifications and their usage was discussed, just like water reduction capacity of those particular admixtures. After that, in the final session, he explained concrete mixed design elaborately with two design examples, one for high strength concrete and another one for M40. And he compared both the mixed designs. And while explaining the mixed design, the main emphasis is only on shortcomings of that mixed design. So in the last slide, he explained about the different distresses that are coming into the concrete payments like carbonation, surface wear and tear. And then in the end note, he ended up with a good note called good practices while dealing with concrete. So on behalf of the Department of Civil Engineering, I thank you, sir, for your power packed presentation with years of experience and practical knowledge. I thank you for this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Santosh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, dear participants, we have another session today. That is on stress management through Sahaja Yoga meditation. So I think we will start our 4 o'clock. You have only 3 minutes. This is also mandatory session as per the Atal Academy guidelines. So they asked us to conduct one session on yoga under Fit India movement. Okay, I request you.